How's it going? You coming in? This is where I live. Frankie Allen. Come on, come in. Welcome. Willkommen. Bienvenue, benvenuti. Bienvenido. So this is where I live. Here's my main living room kind of thing where it's chill. Try to keep it kind of clubby, you know, it's got like a kind of a club atmosphere where there's pictures on the walls from movies. There's friends of mine who are involved, sportsmen and things. Here's a picture of me that we got, I was in Florida when this got done. It's a caricature in Disney World in '93 when my son was only a baby, he was only 3, we went to Disney World. Fantastic, and that was a great caricature. I've used that on a lot of publicity, and that one's the same. There's our Dave, there's my cousin there, sadly passed away a few years ago, good lad. There's me and my son Will. Got my TV here, it's always on at night, I'm always watching movies, old movies, trying to catch up on the news a little bit, but I don't watch it too much these days because it's too depressing. Here's the fire. Now look, this is interesting, there's some famous people here. You've got, you know, there's my son again, private place on the mantelpiece, there he is there as a kid. There's my brother, Bill, who died when he was a kid, he was only 10 when he died. And my brother's named after him, my son's named after my brother. Now here's an interesting one. Here's a picture of a sportsman's dinner I did a few years ago, and this is with a guy called Roberto Duran. Any boxing fans will remember him. They call him Roberto Duran, world champion, and his name was Hands of Stone, you know, because he was such a strong boxer, fantastic, undefeated. Fantastic living legend, and he came along to do a show on Merseyside. It was over in Clawton near Birkenhead, and I was the comic on the job that day, and he came along, and it was great because I managed to speak to him and his son as well. I managed to speak to him, I spoke to him in Spanish actually, and he was made up, you know, he was over the moon. So a great guy, lovely lad. That's a still from the movie Goodfellas that somebody bought me. There's my son again. These two pictures here that you see, these are copies of comics, old comics from the 80s, the Marvel and the Hulk, and this one here, science fiction, the world of science fiction. There's one over there, Planet of the Apes, you'll see. Now, where I got those from, in the 80s and 90s, you had a lot of fun pubs, which anyone can remember, very, very popular. Every night they were booming, it was like New Year's Eve, they were always very, very full. And you always had a drag act on as the DJ, which was a big novelty then, you know, it was just coming into fashion really, a drag act, and they had 2 or 3 acts on during the night. They'd have girls on, dancing on the bar, then at the end of the night they'd have a comic on, which was me. And I was in this place in Culture in Warrington, a place called Rakes. Anyone can remember Rakes? It was a big fun pub. It was there on a Monday night, every night of the week you were working in the 80s, and the guy who was running it was redecorating, and he sold me these pictures, which I loved them. I think they're fantastic. Great, and I've kept them, like I've had them for 30 years, absolutely brilliant. Now here's someone, a real person, he sadly passed away a couple of years ago, Frankie Fraser. Now Frankie Fraser, if anybody doesn't remember him, was a notorious London East End gangster who was an enforcer for the Cray twins, and he was a living legend. He's been in movies and things, spent 40 years in jail, and I got to know him through working with him. He'd come along, he'd do his speech, and very popular, you know, 200, 300, 400 lads would turn up, have a meal, listen to Frankie telling stories about when he was starting off during the war, how he became a kind of like gangster figure, and what it was like when he was locked up in some of Britain's most notorious jails. And he stayed there, he stayed in this house a few times, Frankie, became a very close friend of mine. So, you know, I look at people, I take people as I see them, you know, and Frankie, when I met him, I didn't care about what he'd done in his life, whatever, you know, kind of gangster things he'd done. He was a great guy, and he became a very good friend of mine. The only sad thing was, when he died, when he passed away in London, me and a friend of mine had planned to go and see him. He was in a care home, and we just missed him. We were going to go the following week, and he died, so I do regret that in a way. But if you look around there, there's some fantastic pictures. Here's Howard Kendall. Now, Howard Kendall on this picture with a friend of ours, Diddy Dave. Now, Howard Kendall became a close friend of ours through working with him. What a great guy he was. Very successful as a footballer, immensely successful as a football manager, but really down to earth. He'd do anything for you. We had some great times, me and Alan Kendall and my son Will, going out together, working on the shows. He was very, very good on the question and answer, very clever, brilliant man. Sadly passed away. He sadly missed a great guy. Now, there's my son again. This time he's with Paul McCartney. Now, Paul McCartney happened to be giving out the prizes when the kids from the Lipper College, used to be a Liverpool Institute High School, when they graduated. That's graduation day. And Paul McCartney, who's an old boy of the school, as I am as well when it was the Liverpool Institute, they asked him to come along and present a diploma. And I know that his son spoke to him and said he was a nice guy. I'd love to meet Paul McCartney, living legend. So there's some living legends in here. We've got, here's a friend of mine, Dino, who I appeared in a movie with. That's his son, and I'm godson to his son, and a very handsome little kid, Franco Antonio, and that's a picture of him for his christening in 2016. Now here's a good picture. This is a collage of boxes, none of it's signed, but I'd say 70% of these boxes in this picture I actually know and have worked with Sugar Ray Leonard, worked with Marvin Angler, worked with Tim Witherspoon, worked with Larry Holmes, all these guys. John H. Stracey's a very good friend of mine. All these top boxers of the world, I got to know them through my work very well, and they're all great, they're all good guys, really down to earth, no airs and graces about them. John Conti, some smashing lads. And funny story about Joe Frazier, I was working over in Yorkshire, in Sheffield, doing a show. I was with a good mate of mine, Mickey Finn, legendary comedian on Merseyside, sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and we were in the dressing room, and Joe Frazier he was on the show with us. He just kind of walked in, just came in from nowhere, and again, not that big, not what you'd think. You'd picture him as a huge heavyweight, but he wasn't. He was only like 6 feet, 5'11", 6 feet, didn't really look that strong, but what a fantastic boxer. Beat Muhammad Ali, world champion, great guy, lovely fella. Done a few shows with him. Again, we sadly missed Joe Frazier. Now here's a picture of Elvis, another hero of mine. I'm a big Elvis fan. Got all his songs upstairs, all his DVDs and cassettes. There's Marlon Brando. I admire Marlon Brando as well in his movies. He was a fantastic actor. He was brilliant, he was great. So here's one for you. This is a movie I was in. This film was called Al's Lads. Now, in the film, it was all about Al Capone, and the storyline was two Liverpool guys go over to the States, and they are boxers, and they end up boxing in Soldier Field, it's called. It's a stadium in Chicago, and Al Capone's in the audience, and they get to know Al Capone. They start working for him. They get in a bit of trouble, but it's a great movie, Al's Lads. There's me in the film. Ralph Little was in the film. Richard Roundtree, that played Shaft, he was in the movie. It's not really big hitters. It was filmed in Liverpool. There's a mate of mine, Dino Di Matteo. Now he is Italian descent. He's Italian Sicilian, and I'm kind of like Spanish Liverpool Spanish descent. So the two of us got picked out from 200 extras, and we were given a speaking part as Al Capone's bodyguards. It was fantastic. The only sad thing was when that still was taken from the back of a car. Now it was filmed outside St. George's Hall, which doubled up as City Hall in America, in Chicago, in the 20s. So the car was authentic American from the 20s. Everything we wore was, 20s. We had the machine guns there, Thompson submachine guns. I had a speaking part in it, a lot of action in it. I got shot in it. We had a crowd scene, we had a rain machine making it rain and things. And we were there filming for 2 days. And the final cut, it was all cut out. So kind of devastated about that. I'm still in the movie, and so's Dino still in the movie. It was all cut out. But Al Sapienza, who was probably one of the stars of the film, probably the most prominent actor in the film, most well known, he appeared in The Sopranos, in the first series of The Sopranos, and we kept in touch with Al. He was a great lad, and when he went back over to the States, he actually kept in touch with Dino, kept in touch with me. We kind of didn't get off with it, but there was talk about us going over to America and reading for a part, for the two of us reading for a part in The Sopranos, because we were very good in that movie. But sadly, If anybody knows me, they know I can't fly. I couldn't have done the 5-hour flight. So it just never took off, and I bitterly regret that. You know, could have had a part in The Sopranos maybe. So, you know, can't fly. That's the end of it. I have flown, but you know, it's just one of those things that I really, really regret. So when I look at that picture, it is tinged with a little bit of regret, because the movie was a great film, but nothing came of it. Now, if you follow me in here, this is kind of the kitchen. Basically the same theme, you know, that I've got in the kitchen has got everywhere else. It's all kind of like from movies. I've got a thing of Buddha there. Any place I love going abroad. I like foreign things. I've got things hanging up from Tenerife. Things hanging up, you know, they're kind of like, I've got these Italian tiles, Spanish floor. Everything I've tried to make it, you know, for road. It's kind of like it's Italian and Spanish. Made it kind of like a Spanish villa, if you will. Some pictures here is my dad. And he was a great guy. My dad, he passed away. He was 96 when he died. How was that, you know, fantastic guy, ex-RAF. He was in the RAF. At the back here, here's my son with Howard Kendall. Here's me when I was a kid, when I was a baby, with my brother, John, and my sister, Kay. So, yeah, so it's fascinating. You could spend all day looking around here, seeing different things. One thing I don't really want to show you, well, I'll show you anyway, when you see these MTV cribs, you open the fridge freezer, these people have got all kinds of like cannelloni and meats and champagne and different things. But look, I open my fridge, look, there's fuck all in the fridge. There's 12 eggs, a bit of bacon, some Factor 50 sun lotion for me fucking bald head when I go in the back garden, some milk and some 7-Up. So any gold diggers out there, don't be looking for me, because there's fuck all in the fridge. Right, follow me. I think we kind of like looked at everything in here really. These pictures up here, little pictures kind of like going and kind of keeping in touch with the foreign feel of the place. I got that when I was in Crete. I've got these kind of window things here, you know, trying to make it look more like a kind of a French or Spanish feel to it. It's great, I'm comfortable in this room. A lot of stuff in this room kind of reflects my life. Now, follow me now, and I'll show you. This is just kind of like the little hallway. And in this hallway, as I say, as my sister says, she's always having a go at me. She's saying, you know, your house is just a shrine to your son. You know, there's pictures of Will everywhere. There's my son when he was in school, and he was a handsome kid then, he's still handsome now. There's a little picture of him. Here's a picture of him as we go upstairs. There's a picture of him kind of like looking a bit. There's a story behind that, but I can't remember. He was sitting somewhere at a wedding, and he was kind of like really morose. Now, strange thing this, you know, the way people are connected in the universe, coincidences and things. My son's mother bought me this for my birthday a few years ago, and what it is, it's a replica of a record which was #1 on the day that I was born, which was December 27th, 71, and the record is Ernie, the Fastest Milkman in the West by Benny Hill. Anyone remembers that number? It's a fantastic number. And here's a little strange thing, or a weird thing. I forgot to mention Ricky Hatton before, he was on that big picture. Ricky Hatton, world champ, fantastic guy, very good friend of mine. Ricky Hatton is a very close friend of Stevie Heaton, who's a mate of mine, runs a pub in Manchester in Hattersley called the Hare Hill Tavern. And we very often get together and have a drink together. We all get kind of half pissed and whatever and have a laugh. And when Ricky's had a couple of drinks, he always sings Ernie, the Fastest Milkman in the West, and he knows every fucking word. Anybody out there that knows Ricky Hatton, you ask him to sing it for you, and he sings it great. So yeah, that was #1, December 27th, 71, on my birthday. Follow me. These are just some trinkets and things. When my dad died, passed away, we cleared out his house. There wasn't really much there that I wanted, but these little statuettes of Jesus and Mary are very good. I like those, so I took those off him. This is just a picture. I think my brother got me this once for his birthday. It's kind of like French thing by an English artist, but I like it. And there's a little thing that we got from Crete. Again, a little picture of Our Lady. Any Catholics out there? Our Lady, bring you a bit of luck. Now, as we come in here, this is my bathroom. The bathroom again's been kind of tiled with like Spanish tiles, Spanish floor. I've tried to keep it to that feel. I don't really want to stay in this house, believe it or not. I'm not going to stay here very long. I don't really kind of like feel too comfortable. I want to change. It's been great, you know, I've been here a long time, but a lot of people are getting these showers fitted and things. I don't want to do that. I just want to move to somewhere else. But it's been great, you know, it's done a job. It's a fantastic place to live around here, no trouble. Just follow me. Now if you come in here, this is a very small room, and I just use this as a guest room. Now as a guest room, if anybody stays the night, one of my mates or whatever, they normally sleep in here. Now, a good mate of mine, or my best mate really, Jimmy Price, like top boxer, he was the world gold medalist. He stayed here the night before he got married. You know, you're supposed to stay in somebody else's house. You can't, unlucky in it for the bride, the bridegroom to meet. So he stayed in this room, and he's a big lad. I think his feet were over the thing. It's only a small bed, but there's nothing in there really. A few books. I like reading books, but the stories behind everything. If you look at this, I bought this in just a shop. I'm not sure if it was kind of like Taskers. There's a Taskers in Liverpool where you can buy different things, and what it was, it's an advert of Muhammad Ali fighting Kenny Norton, which anyone who's a bit older will remember was a fantastic fight. Norton broke Ali's jaw in that fight. Now on the undercard is what you call it, other boxers who were on for that night, you'll see Ernie Shavers and Henry Clark. Ernie Shavers, very unlucky. He had the hardest punch, harder puncher than Mike Tyson, harder puncher than Muhammad Ali, and he was a little bit unlucky that he fought Larry Holmes for the world title, and he had him on the canvas for about 11 seconds, but the referee gave him a very slow count, and Holmes got up after 9 seconds or whatever it was. He just beat the count by half a second, but they've had, you know, proper stopwatches on it, and he should have been counted out. Anyway, Holmes went on then to beat Ernie Shavers, but I met Ernie Shavers because Ernie Shavers came over to Liverpool from the States. A friend of mine, Kenny Rainford, an ex-boxer, he was over in the States boxing, got to know Ernie Shavers. Ernie Shavers came over to Liverpool, was living in Birkenhead, and got to know him, working with Ernie. Great guy, lovely man, huge man. And I was really privileged to meet him, you know, because he was a kind of a hero of mine. Because I'm all for people who kind of like, I don't always feel sorry for people who've had a little bit of bad luck. And Ernie Shavers had a little bit of bad luck by not becoming the world champion, by missing being the world champ, and he never was the world champ, just by a long count. Just like Tyson, when Tyson fought Buster Douglas, anyone can remember, in the 8th round, I think it was, Tyson had Buster Douglas on the floor, Douglas was on the floor, the actual count, he was on the floor on the canvas for 11 seconds, you know, but the referee for some reason didn't start counting about 3 or 4 seconds, and in the end, the following round, Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, knocked him out. Tyson's first defeat ever. He would have gone, I think he would have gone to become the best, to be recognised. He would have been recognised as the greatest boxer of all time because he never would have been defeated. So here's a picture of me looking a little bit different. This was taken in 1987. Now this was a still from when I was on the television. I was on the television on Bob Says Opportunity Knocks. Now what that was, Huey Green had the talent show called Opportunity Knocks in the 60s. Bob Monkhouse, who was a great comedian in his own right, he had the idea of reviving the show, bringing it back, getting some talents on, people who are working around the club, people who are undiscovered, not known, and trying to like make them into stars. So I went down to London, I auditioned, and I got picked. I was the first comedian, or the first actor really, picked from 200,000 people to appear on the first show, on the first series of Bob Says Opportunity Knocks. And there we go, it was fantastic. Went down to London, treated like a star, you know, limousines everywhere, going into makeup, going into rehearsal, met Bob Monkhouse, Studio 8 huge, we went out live, 16 million people watched it, and you voted, if you liked, there was 5 acts on, whoever you thought was the best act, you'd ring up and you'd place your vote over the telephone. It was all landlines then. And sadly I didn't win, and it just shows, you know, really kind of like made a point of made me realise things in your life. I really thought, and even Bob Monkhouse said, you're going to win this, Frankie, you're really going to be a big star, you'll win this Op Knocks, you'll win. The following month which they have the All Winners show, and then you're just like Jim Davidson did, he was on Op Knox, then you're just going to be a big star, you know, like Freddie Starr. A lot of people have used Opportunity Knocks as a platform to stardom, and I was well on my way. Anyway, there was a girl on called Kerry Wilson, was an impressionist and very good impressionist. Now, I'm not saying she was better than me, because I was just telling gags, but what she did a lot of things which were very kind of in vogue at the time. She was doing impressions of people who were on EastEnders and Coronation Street, and she won. I mean, best of luck to her, but, you know, it's weird being in London on Opportunity Knocks, thinking I was a fucking big star like Elvis. 3 weeks later, I was literally fighting for my life in this fucking rough club in Bolton. You know, so you never know which avenue your life's going to take. Look at that, you know, thought I was on my way. I was getting filled in, I was filled in the club in Bolton, fighting for fucking life, blood everywhere. And there I was, 3 weeks earlier, like a star. Right, follow me. Right, here's my bedroom. There's some pictures in here, not really that interesting. The only thing about this bedroom is I'm a bit of a lazy bastard. When I'm not working, you know, sometimes I go to bed early. If I don't go round to my mate's Jimmy Price's, to, you know, to chill in his house, what I do, I just stay in bed kind of thing and watch the TV. I've got a big TV here. It's like a 50-inch, 48-inch. Watch all my old movies. And I'm lying there just watching. That's all I do. I'm on my phone and speak to people. Feel safe in this room, it's great. But I've got a lot of books in this room. If you see down there, Spanish. On this side, there's hundreds of books, and they're all language books. The reason being, I'm fascinated by foreign languages. Now, I can speak Spanish and French and German and Italian as well. I've started to learn Italian, and it's very good. Anybody out there who's fed up, especially in the lockdown and quarantine, if you're fed up, you're really getting pissed off and you're bored. Languages, if you learn a language, even if you're on a language app on your phone, keeping your brain exercised, it's very, very good. And it's a kind of a goal for you. You know, you're thinking to yourself, look, I want to learn French. So you start off, you see yourself improving, going on to chapter 2, chapter 3. Before you know what's it, yeah, you're speaking it fluently, and you really feel kind of like as though you've achieved something. So anybody who's fed up and bored, if you can, obviously when all this is lifted, if we go back to travelling and we can go abroad, sometimes, and even in, you know, your own city, anywhere in the UK, you can go into a Spanish restaurant, you might be with a bird, and you'll impress him, won't you, to be speaking Spanish, speaking Italian or whatever, speaking French or whatever. Here's my bed, we're asleep anyway. You know, it's sad, this bed, really. It's a shame, because it's a wonder there's not cobwebs on the bed, because there've been no birds in this bed. There's been no birds for a long time. This is a hat that I wore for my mate Jimmy Price for his wedding, actually. It was a kind of gangster themed wedding. Now, here I am. A lot of people think when I've got this hat on, it's the hat I wore in Al's Lads, the movie, but it wasn't. I wore this for a wedding. After the reception, you know, we went out, we had a great time wearing this hat in Liverpool. Obviously, you know what Liverpool's like, a few fellas are kicking off or whatever with the fucking hat. But I've just fucked them off, it's great, I love it. Gonna get another one. Yeah, this is my wardrobe, and if you're expecting an extensive wardrobe here, you know, you're mistaken, because there's fuck all in it, really. All I wear is suits. I've got loads of suits in the other room, and some are in the cleaners now that I haven't even picked up for wearing on stage. But basically, if you see Frankie Allen, if he's out, if he's in the shops, if he's in his car, I'm trackied up to fuck. I always wear tracksuits. For one thing, there's not a tracksuit, which I often wear sometimes. The guys up at Preston, we've done a show at Deepdale, Preston, and lovely lads up there. They got me a Preston North End shirt, great team, and they got my name on the back, so I often wear that. That's a good shout. There's all my trackies in there, there's my suits. There's fuck all else really in this room. If you follow me back in here, you know, we've got a lot of books. Sometimes if I'm fed up, I'll read all my books, take them to bed with me, read the Guinness Book of Records, all the greatest movies of all time. There's a book there that I read, Ripley's Believe It or Not. I'm into like statistics, which is the, you know, who's been on stage the longest, who's swum the channel, who was the first fella to climb Everest. I'm into all that kind of stuff, and my language as well, so I'll read all those things. There's nothing in there really. This back room, all that's in here, I'm not even going to show you, all that's in here is my Sky stuff, an old TV, and everything's rigged up so that the sky comes through in this room on remote control. So that's just rubbish in there. You've seen the bathroom. Let's go back downstairs. I think we've covered just about everything. By the way, this is a good one. This picture here, I was down a place in Shropshire called the Lion Keys Hotel, which is a huge hotel. I've done many shows there. I've been there with Howard Kendall and Paul Harrison, I think his name was. He used to put a lot of shows on down there at Oswald Street. That's the place, Oswald Street. And he was a very good artist. And when my son was only young, he was 7 or 8, he's 31 now. I paid him, you know, he'd done this picture, which is a great picture. I gave him a picture of my son Will, and he drew this picture. The only thing I don't really like, I think the nose might be a little bit different. So I'll have to break my son's nose to make him look like that picture. So there's me and my son again. Oh, by the way, there's my dad there just before he died, 96, with my nephew and niece, Emma and David. And yeah, he's a lovely lad and sadly passed. So tragedy hits everybody. So yeah, so that's the end. So all you nosy bastards who wanted to come round, and I've got people looking on the fucking phones. Frankie Allen net worth has done worth 400 fucking million. Fucking wake up, will ya? We've had no work for 12 fucking months. Look, this is my house. This is where I fucking live. Now you nosy bastards, you've seen me fucking house. There's the door. Now fuck off.